So I'd like now to introduce tonight's presenter. Joe Schmitz was born and raised in Streeter, but moved to Morris with his wife Carol, where they raised their 3 children. Joe was a successful banker, serving as vice president for First Midwest Bank of Morris, and after 25 years he became president and CEO at Exchange Bank in Gardner, where he served until he retired. Even with his busy schedule, Joe made time for his passions: baseball, the Chicago White Sox, and giving back to his community. In 2005, Joe authored the book, My Lifetime Love Affair with the White Sox. The foreword was written by Roland Heeman, general manager of the White Sox. Special mention of the Shoeless Joe Jackson Museum was included in the book. Joe Schmitz has always been a supporter of Shoeless Joe Jackson and contends that he should be cleared of any wrongdoing and become eligible for Hall of Fame consideration. Joe has served on the Shoeless Joe Jackson Museum Advisory Board since 2011, and his license plate and email address both include Shoeless Joe references. Joe also coached the 1988 First Midwest Bank Morris Colt 15U softball team, which won a national championship that summer. The team included Joe's daughter, Jenny, as one of its top pitchers. The History Museum honored the success of that team with an exhibit and a newsletter article in January of 2025. And we also have honored Joe's appearance tonight by recreating that exhibit on display at the museum. Giving back to his community has always been an important part of Joe's life. Joe founded Operation St. Nick in 1979. Approximately 5,000 families in need have been the beneficiaries of about $2 million donated. In 2009, Major League Baseball partnered with People magazine to form All Stars Among Us, which identified 30 outstanding individuals who had dedicated themselves to community service. These All-Stars were recognized for continuously going above and beyond to inspire and enrich the lives of others, devoting themselves to community service and social responsibility. At the 2009 MLB All-Star Game at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Joe represented the Chicago White Sox as one of 30 individuals who was nationally recognized for being committed to giving back. Joe's philanthropic work has not gone unnoticed locally either. Included among the many awards he has received are the Grundy County Chamber's Man of the Year, the Illinois Governor's Hometown Winner for Operation St. Nick, People Magazine's National Winner for People Among Us, Joliet Junior College's winner of the J.E. Ross Extraordinary Service Award, the Morris Rotary Paul Harris Award winner for community work, and the Joliet Herald Everyday Hero Award. Joe has stepped down from the director position at Operation St. Nick, and in attendance tonight is the person taking over the reins, Mr. Guy Christensen, and his wife, Jan. So please help me welcome Joe Schmitz.
Well, thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. I think about the important buildings in Grundy County, and especially in Morris. I think about the Historical Society preserving all our history. I think of the hospital, I think of the new YMCA, I think of the library. But you're right up there on top with all of them. And I thank you for your generosity in preserving our history. If I rattle a little bit tonight, my voice isn't as strong as it used to be. I've developed Parkinson's, but I'm doing okay with it. So if I stutter a little bit once in a while, you'll know why. I say 3 things that I love to talk about: my family, St. Nick, and you guessed it, the White Sox. But we won't talk about that, especially after this last week. Don't dare talk about that. Where did St. Nick start? Go back to 1952. Started in Morris in 1979. In 1952, as a young boy, about 8 years old, I came out of my bedroom and my dad was standing there with a Santa Claus suit on. And my mom was fixing his beard. And I thought, oh my God, my dad's Santa Claus. Again. I mean, 8 years old. He actually believed in Santa. There wasn't internet. He believed in Santa since about in 8th grade, and the streeter did anyway. So I stood there shocked. I said, Dad, are you Santa Claus? He said, no, I'm not Santa Claus. I'm not Santa Claus' helpers. What do you mean? He said, well, Santa didn't have room in his sleigh for food. He just had room for the toys for the kids. And I'm designated the streeter to be his helper, to make sure that families in need have food. Well, the buttons about popped off my shirt. My dad is Santa's helper and streeter. So he said to my mom, bundle him up, let him go with us. I went with him 3 years on that 6-wheeler truck, giving out food baskets to watching him. I wasn't doing it, my dad was. But I always stuck a spot in my heart. It was something I wanted to do someday. Fast forward to 1979, I was in church group, prayer group at ICS, and in November of '79, I was talking to the group about what my dad did in the 50s and late 40s, and that's something I always wanted to do. And so they said, yeah, let's do it. So we threw money together, got about $250, and the $250 '79, you could buy a lot of food. Can't now. You wouldn't fill a basket today, I don't think. But in '79 you could. So we got the name of a lady and family lived on the canal, and took a food basket. I got Norman Smigo and Norman Ballweather and Tom Smigo. Got them telling me what we were going to do. They put a basket together for us, going over there, knocked on the door and saying, "Oh, come all ye faithful." And she invited us in the house and put the groceries away for her and started singing Christmas carols. When we got to the side of the night, she got tears running down her cheeks, and most of us had tears running down our cheeks. And I said, man, this is something I want to do. So the second year, we did basically the same thing. The third year, '81, Paul Ritt and Diane Ritt heard what we were doing. He says, why aren't you doing toys? I said, well, my dad didn't do it, he just did food. He said, well, here's $500. Give him $200 of food and find a family of 5 and give him $100 of toys. I said, wow. So I called Shirley Kiss, who I get the names from. I said, Shirley, I got $500. I need to name a family with 3 kids. She said, are you nuts? And she said, you only give one family $500. We do $20 food baskets with the interagencies. I said, well, the guy gave me $500. I'm going to spend it the way he wants to spend. So she reluctantly got a name for me out in the Old Stage Road. So I called the lady. I said, give me some things your kids want for Christmas. So Carol and I then went shopping and got the gifts they wanted. I called Joe Schmitz, the best Santa ever. Sorry, Carter, he's the best. And told Joe what we were doing. When he goes me out to deliver the gifts, he said, sure. So we jumped in the car on an Old State Road. And he says to me on the way out, he says, they don't have a dog, do they? I said, no. He gets out of the car, he's standing ringing the bell. The 3 kids are sitting in the window, looking out. Santa's there. Here comes the dog. And Joe's running around the car, called me. Well, I won't tell you what he called me. I didn't think Joe ever swore. But he swore that night. Finally, the woman gets the dog off of Joe. And we had a great night. And he and I laughed about that for a lot of years. So that was our first time that we did toys. That was '82. No, that was '81. '82, we were just, the word started getting around about St. Nick and D&S Foods knew what we were doing for 2 years. So they put a canister out for feed the needy in Grundy County, canister. Well, somebody stole that about midnight one night, stole the canister. It was the best ad they ever could have ran. Everybody started bringing money in because somebody got a publicity. You know how that goes, good publicity. And money just started coming in. And then in we had Bill Norton, president of the First National Bank of Morris then, and Bill said to me, "What is this you're doing? This we didn't have a name, St. Nick then." I said, "Well," I told him what we were doing, and I told him Paul Good gave us $500. He said, "Well, we'll match that 500. Employees will match 500. And next thing you know, I'm sitting on $2,000, and we just started to grow. So the next year, that year we had a Christmas party. In '82, we had a Christmas party at KFC. Shirley and I were sitting there talking to Mark Bacchus, who was the manager at the KFC, and telling him about how we were helping families. He said, "Well, let's do a Christmas dinner here." "Christmas Day, you're going to do a Christmas dinner?" Yeah, we'll fit all the food. We can handle about 65 people. So we started getting excited. Surely you got to give your name to 30-some kids, and we got to get them a gift. So Carolyn, we always got the gifts the kids wanted, and that took a chore, and I'll tell you about that. A real chore we had one year. But so we went shopping, got the gifts, toys, and Christmas Day at KFC, we had Santa Claus come, call the kid by name, give him his gift. And the family were so excited. The people were coming to the door, they were driving by, thinking it was open. And Mark just said, "No, this is a private party." Those people were so proud that they could sit there and tell the other people they couldn't come in. It was a private party. So things started rolling. It was '82, and then we get a call from Terry White at the radio station next year, and he says, "Well, I forgot one thing." That's when Shirley said, "If you're going to do this, you should get a name. Like where we care, you should get a name." I said, "Well, I'd like to call Operation Teddy after my dad. His name was Ted Schmitz." And she said, "Well, nobody's familiar with Ted Schmitz in Grundy County." I said, "Well, we do Operation Teddy Bear." And she said, "Well, we kick names around. It's Santa Claus, Operation Snowflake, Operation Santa's Helper." I said, "Let me think about it." None of it hit me right. So I was home telling Carol about it, and she said, "Why don't you use Operation St. Nick?" Bingo. That hit me. The Christian values. St. Nick was the first Santa Claus in the country of America, which is now Turkey. So that's how we developed Operation St. Nick. So the next year, Terry White called me from the radio station. And he says, "This is when Cabbage Patch dolls first came out. You couldn't get a Cabbage Patch doll anywhere. Believe me, we tried everywhere." So he had one. He said, "We'll do an auction from St. Nick, from the organization St. Nick." So he said, "Okay." And went on, Dick Steele and I went on for an hour, did an auction in '83. We won Cabbage Patch doll. We went for $895. And Bob Chipwood, Zimmerman's Pharmacy, bought it. So I got a lot of new publicity everywhere. So things just started taking off for us. So the next year, we had a list. And now we're up to helping about 60 kids, 70 kids at $100 a child, families getting $200 of food. And we're looking for Cabbage Patch dolls. We had 27 girls on the list and one Cabbage Patch doll. And you couldn't find them. We went everywhere. Couldn't find them. So Coast to Coast, I don't know if anybody remembers Coast to Coast store in town. John Pletcher and Sheila Pletcher ran it. And I went to him to see if he had any Cabbage Patch dolls. He said, takes me to the back room and showed me the list. 3 pages, people that want Cabbage Patch dolls. I said, "Well, add me to the list." So I get a call from him about 2 weeks before Christmas. He says, and we had no Cabbage Patch dolls. He says, "Come on down the store for a minute." I went down the store. He said, "I just got 32 Cabbage Patch dolls." He says, "You get your choice. Take none of them or take them all." I'll take them all. And took the 27. How am I going to deliver? I don't want any of my customers to know that I gave them all to you. I sold them all to you. So I said, I called Jim Olson, the sheriff. You'd think a Brinks truck was coming in. So we get this scheme up midnight, about 10 days before Christmas or a week before Christmas. John Pletcher rents, he didn't even want the coast-to-coast truck. He rents a white plain van. At midnight, pulled up in front of the bank. Jim Olson got the stairs car out there. I'm opening the bank. We're rushing as fast as we can so nobody sees. So he said, the girls asked me, what are you going to do with the extra $5? I called Terry White and said, can we have another auction? This is the 84, second auction. Can we do 5 of them? Do one for 1 hour? And he said, do 1 an hour for the first one, then half hour for the second. We raised about $2,000. So we were off and running. That was in 1983. So 84 was when we really started more auctions and more families, and it became really known in Grundy County. We started with donations all year long. We got a post office box, and it was just amazing how things went. In 1984, we raised, well, the first year was $895. The second year was like almost $2,000. And we didn't reach till, this is part of the parking lot, this is my eyes. 1988, we reached $5,000 in the auction. We didn't reach $10,000 until 1992. We didn't reach $50,000 until 2001. 2007, our 25th anniversary, we had $121,000 on the radio auction. We just had our 43rd anniversary of this last auction. And we hit $152,000 in 2018. 2022, we hit $227,000, our 40th anniversary. That's 4 hours in Morris, Illinois, on the radio on a Sunday morning, raising $227,000. And then 2024, we raised $236,000. Last year we raised $200,000 on the button. The lady, who most of you know, I haven't mentioned her name, called me and said she loved what we were doing. She sent a card, check. Carol says, "Did you ever see the check there from so-and-so?" I didn't have my glasses on. I says, "Wow, she gave us $500 just you better look again." $5,000, I can't believe she gave me. She says, "Get your glasses on." $50,000. If we got that made it took us from $150,000 in the auction to $200,000. So it's been a crazy wild run. We've raised through last year's auction, we hit $3 million. We spent over $4 million on all our programs. I had a brochure that I was going to bring to everybody, but it had solicitation on it. I didn't want to be soliciting money from anybody. Here, give it to the Historical Society. But Joe Purcell was a big help, and so was Shirley Kiss. Now I go fast forward to where we are today. We're sitting with 6 programs. We have a back-to-school program. Tell me what my budget is here. Let me get my glasses back on. Where the hell I put them? That has nothing to do with parking. Gee, that's simple. Oh well. What is that, guys?
In your shirt pocket.
In your pocket, in your shirt.
No, I must throw them away. Well, I think I can read this. Christmas gifts and food last year, we spent $60,000.
Just readers.
That's all I have. We got different power on it. $60,000. That was 150 kids from 60 families. Received $300 per child for gifts with their own wish list. The parents shopped. It's an unbelievable program that Brad and Linda Baker run. they gotta get a hold of all the families, which is about 60, 150 kids. And we meet at Walmart on certain nights. And for years, we shopped ourselves. And one day I was shopping for 60 kids. We had all kind of elves, and people do this. We give one girl at the bank, give her a list. Here's so-and-so family kid. This is what she wants. Go find her. I said, Carol, we're robbing Mom and Dad from the joy of shopping for the kids. So we changed it. So they'd shop, and then they'd bring them to the firehouse at the time. And we'd check them all over and give them back to them. Because people will put a BB gun in with other things, and it's hard to believe what they do, put stuff in for themselves, parents. But so we checked everything over. But last year, it was $300 per child. As I said, in gifts, $200 per family, and food came to $60,000. We started something. We've been getting so much. Well, not so much money, but we've been getting extra money through wills the last few years, and so we had. I believe we had $60,000 left over, but we had in excess of $60,000. How are we going to use it? And Linda Baker says, let's pay those 60 families. Let's pay their January, February utility bills. So that year we gave those out the first year, giving them toys and giving them food certificates, and then told them here's a sheet form to fill out, put your account number on it, whether the gas bill or electric bill, and we'll pay $1,000 on to the winner. There was a lot of tears for them. But that was $120,000 spent on Christmas. Military and veterans family, we take 15 veterans, which starts Memorial Day through the 4th of July, run a full-page ad in the Morris Herald. We don't pay for it. We don't pay for any ads. Either it's donated or Grundy Bank pays for it. We don't spend a penny other than the family. But we have 15 veterans and military people. We've flown kids home from Germany. We've taken kids. One guy had wanted to take his family to Disney World, and I sat down with him. I said, we always interview everyone one-on-one, and I said, how you doing with your mortgage? Well, I said, rent. He said, I'm only a month behind. I said, I'll buy your car. I'm a month and a half, 2 months behind. I said, how about this? How about we pay your bills, you save some money, and then you take your kids. He says, the trouble with you is, you guys that can afford to go to Disney World think your kids are the only ones going to go to Disney World. My kids want to go to Disney World too. I said, I'll meet you red carpet travel tomorrow morning. And we landed up and took them to Disney World. But, so we let the veterans choose what they want. We do to salute the veterans for their time and service, not so much need, but we do run into need. We ran into a gentleman in Braceville, a guy helped put windows in his house. He had windows, grass coming through. We put windows in his house last year. But usually it's hard for us to find 15 veterans that ask for help. They always say, well, help him, help this guy, help that guy. They don't want to help themselves. The family assistance program we run during the years. I'll give you an example. Last year, there was 2 house fires that displaced the families. Right away, the next morning, we had $5,000 to each of them to help them get back on their feet. We don't usually do cash in emergency situations like the tornado hit Diamond. We were over there with interviewing the people in the houses and giving them $500 to get on their feet and cleaning supplies. So the family assistance program works during the year for people that kind of fall through the cracks. The back to school program, we spent $45,000 last year. $200 per child on clothing and shoes. We gave the bags, gave the supplies, and we worked together. We used to work separately, and we started thinking, we're doing an application, they're doing an application, and we're finding the same people most of the time. So we joined with one application and work together. They take care of the supplies, and we take care of the shoes and clothing. Our food assistance is something we just started. We've heard that they're needing money in the Graceville Gardner area for backpacks for kids on weekends. So we budgeted $10,000 to help them next year. Our bicycle program, we just finished the distribution with Ambucks. We partner with Ambucks. They take disabled children here in Grundy County. They have, in November, the fit of the bike coming in North Carolina. Fits them just to their needs. They build them over the winter. And then just this last week, they distributed it to the kids. And the guy in Carolina went over. It's just heartwarming to watch them kids get their first bike. But 9 bikes cost $10,000, especially made. It's in North Carolina. But we partner with Ambucks. They build the bikes, and we fund it. Then gas cards and food cards. We budgeted $5,000. We run across people that had to go to Chicago, Larry's Children's Hospital, their child is ill, so we give them gas cards. And so that totals, our budget for this year is $255,000 to spend in Grundy County on families in need, other than the military veterans. So guys, you got a big job. This is my last year's president, but I'm staying on the board. Guy helped me, buddy. 2008 guy came on the board. He didn't know at the time that my plan was he'd be president someday. I just didn't think I'd live this long. You know, I'm from the street. People don't live that long on the street. But with that, Guy, you got anything you'd like to add before we put some questions?
Sure, I'd like to talk to him.
Come on up. When you're here, Guy, find my glasses. You always find them there. Here and there. I'm gonna whip this damn parking. I'm gonna be the first one to whip it.
Yeah, good.
But I'm gonna sit down now.
So you can see that I have trouble keeping up with this guy, and I have to follow him. Can you believe that? I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do it, Joe.
You'll do fine.
I came tonight not knowing who all I would see here, but I see there's a lot of people that I know, a lot of people that I've known for a long time, and yet there's a few others that don't know me at all. I want to thank you personally, myself, for inviting us here to talk. As you can tell, Joe's pretty passionate about what he's done, and I'm following him, and I'm going to do everything I can to keep that up myself. Joe and I are always happy to talk about Operation St. Nick. It's hard to get him to shut up once he gets going. I'm just really happy that I'm able to pick up from behind him and take off and do something with this thing that he's done so well with. I want to just do everything I can to make him proud of what we do. And I'm especially happy that he's staying on the board of directors. If he walked away, then I don't know, I'd have to be doing a lot of stuff on my own, but I'm going to lean on him quite a bit, I think. And we are at the Historical Society, and earlier on I looked at my stuff and I thought, well, maybe I'll give you my history. But there's a lot of people here that probably know things about me that I won't tell you. But my history started in Grundy County. I was born in Morris Hospital in 1950. My mom and dad were Ray and Norma Christensen. Went to grade school at the Catholic School, Immaculate Conception. Then to high school at Morris Community. Graduated in class of 1968. Went to Lewis College for 2 years in Lockport. Went to University of Illinois after that for my engineering degree. Got that in 1972. And that was the same year that I married my wife, Jan. And the same year that I started my job at a consulting engineering firm in town called Chamlin & Associates. And I was there for 47 years, and the last 20 years I was president of the company. So I had one job from the time I started work to the time that I retired.
Now you got another one.
It's like the other job I had, the jobs with no paycheck.
Right.
And like Joe said, I've been an active St. Nick board member since 2008. And in accepting this presidency from Joe at the beginning of this year, I was lucky enough to be in charge of one of the longest standing and well-run charities anywhere, not just in Grundy County. Joe's done something I think that everyone would probably like to do, but he put his head to it and he did it. He pushed and he pushed and he made this happen. And I certainly intend to keep it going. We have a great board of directors. Joe mentioned a couple of names on there, but Brad Baker is now the vice president, taking over my job. Scott Shannon is our treasurer. Kathy Dale is our secretary. Other members on the board are Joe, obviously, and his wife Carol. Also Linda Baker, which is Brad's wife. Missy Durkin, Kathy Lambrose, Carla Harrington, Joe and Carol's daughter. Katie Christensen, Jan, my daughter. And Brooke Catcher, who is Brad and Linda Baker's daughter. So that makes up our board. And I'll tell you what, I've been on boards and I've seen other boards. These people work their butts off. They will be there whenever you need somebody to do something, and they won't quit until they're done. And so I'm truly humbled to step into this organization's presidency behind the Grundy County legend, Joe Schmitz. I hope to seamlessly transition St. Nick from Joe's leadership to my own, which is no small task. I'm also very proud of all the great things that St. Nick has done for the less fortunate families and veterans in Grundy County. I want to say thanks to all the people in Grundy County who have supported St. Nick, allowing us to help those who need help here in Grundy County. Joe and Carol have made this a very successful organization. My board and me intend to make Joe proud of how we will do things moving forward. Thanks again for having us here tonight. And Joe, I'll let you say a few things if you want to yet.
I don't find my glasses and read.
Okay, well, I'll wait for it. What do you want? What did you do? Here.
Yeah, I'm gonna step on it. I got a few things, thank yous here that we have 125 thank yous on our website. If you had time to read some of the longer ones, please do, because it's really rewarding to read. I just took a few here that are short. First one says, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. Can't put into words my appreciation. Operation St. Nick not only helps me provide a Christmas for my kids, but you gave me hope again as I was at a breaking point in my life and couldn't find help anywhere for my children's Christmas until I found Operation St. Nick. Now, another thing, we have 12 scrapbooks that full of thank yous and news articles from the time we started St. Nick. I was going to bring one and read it, just to show you how many thank you cards we get from people. Here's another one that says that when we received your call before Christmas, offering to help us this Christmas and going beyond by also paying our December mortgage, I was certain our Lord and Savior worked through St. Nick to help us. And he probably did. There's two more I'll read and I'll open up some questions. I would like to thank Operation St. Nick for all your help done for me and my family since my son was diagnosed with leukemia. Without your help at Christmas, we would have had no Christmas. And without you, my son would never have gotten to all his treatments in Chicago. Thank you for your gas cards from the bottom of my heart. I never thought there would be anyone who cared about my family as you have been and willingly wanted to help us. I was wrong. Dear outraged St. Nick, our family thanks you for, in my own writing, for your assistance, not feeling the recent tornadoes. We will be forever thankful for your supplies and financial help, assistance, but mostly of all, thank you for your compassion, kindness, and human interest in our family. So that's just some of the thank yous. Like I said, there's 125 of them on our website.
That's the gas that keeps us going, Joe.
Yeah. So as I said earlier, we've raised over $3 million in the radio auction for 43 years. And we spent almost $4 million in Grundy County. $498,065 on veterans alone. So that's just a thumbnail, the work that goes into it, like to every project. Like our military, we've interviewed every military one because sometimes they and then make suggestions to them that maybe we should do this like I told them the one with Disney. Well, we love it was Disney. I mean, it's what they want. But the Christmas program, getting a hold of 60 families, getting the list of all those kids, setting up the shopping, making sure that the gas bills or electric bills are paid. I mean, it's a chore, but it's a chore from the heart that makes us feel good. We love it. But with that, I'll open it up if anybody has any questions. I'd be happy to answer them. Okay. Well, thanks for having us. It was a great night, and you got a great organization, and we're all of us working together to make Morris and Grundy County a better place to live. We're all doing it. Thank you. Good night.